Hello, my name is Alison Brown, and I'm a part of the Animal Cruelty in Kentucky PSA group. Brittany, Kagen, Raelyn, and I are here to share what animal cruelty in Kentucky looks like, what the problems with it are, and how we can go about helping and changing animal cruelty in Kentucky. To begin our PSA video, we would like to start with footage of people looking at images of animals that are healthy, going to images of animals that are abused, and see their change in facial expressions and attitudes towards those pictures. This footage would basically be to display that animal cruelty does affect us. A lot of times we just look it over, but if you really look at the fact and see the animal cruelty, you see that it's not okay. After they saw the images, I would simply ask the question, is this okay? And hopefully most of their responses would be no or something on that line just to reiterate the fact that this is not okay and this is something that does need change. After that, it would go basically to a screen that says what animal cruelty is. And I found that definition on Legal Dictionary, the freedictionary.com, and that definition is the crime of inflicting physical pain, suffering, or death on an animal, usually a tame one, beyond necessity for normal discipline. It can include neglect that is so monstrous, without holding food or water, that the animal has suffered, died, or been put in imminent danger of death. After that, it would go to this chart, and this chart was made on the BCM, the University of Kentucky Baptist Campus Ministry page. Basically, I took a poll of 50 people to just get a wider range, since the first images would just be 3 or 4 people. But this way, you can see more people do see the problem with animal cruelty. As you can look on the slide, only 4 people said it doesn't affect me, so I'm indifferent. Another 4 people said people should be able to treat their animals the way they want. But 42 people said it's uncalled for and animal rights should be enforced. So basically, this would come up just to show that it is not okay. People see it's not okay, but people don't know what to do to change it. So that's what the rest of our video will entail, and that's what Kagen, Raelyn, and Brittany are going to discuss. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Reynolds. I'm also a part of Group 3. Following Alison's poll, we just wanted to present a short questionnaire with the responses we got from it. The first question, are you a Kentucky resident, is so we can limit our focus to just the state of Kentucky. The second question asks what the terms abuse and cruelty mean to you in terms of animals. If you go ahead and read through those responses, you'll see that most responses were similar in saying that it is inhumane and awful, and it means not giving them the proper treatment, care, or shelter. Some people included that it means physical abuse and harmful behavior being done to the animals as well. The survey goes on to ask if people are familiar with the laws to protect animals in Lexington and Fayette County, and if they consider animal cruelty to be an issue that needs to be monitored and enforced more than it currently is. As you can see, many respondents are not familiar with the laws and believe it is an issue that should be monitored and enforced more. As Alison said, people do see that animal cruelty and neglect is not okay, which was one of our goals of our PSA, but now we just hope to educate our audience more on these topics and get them to take action. The following questions in the survey ask if they have ever heard a political candidate mention animal neglect or animal abuse in an ad, and if they would support stronger legislation for people who neglect or abuse animals. In which most of the respondents said no, they have not heard a political candidate mention animal neglect in an ad, and yes, they would support stronger legislation for those who commit such heinous crimes. For the closing question, we ask what they believe should be done to improve treatments of animals or manage the treatment of animals. I think this is a good closing question because it gets the audience thinking about the action that they can take and things that could be done or changed. Again, all responses to the question were similar in saying that there should be harsher punishments, more education to the public, and background checks and screenings of the owners prior to obtaining the animal. This survey is a good way to show our audience that people do agree with animal cruelty being wrong and unlawful and think there needs to be something done about it. Hopefully it will motivate our audience to get on board with our call to action. Some new research we want to include in our PSA is an article from PETA called Animal Abuse and Human Abuse, Partners in Crime. Just the title alone tells what the article entails. It states that a survey of psychiatric patients who had repeatedly tortured dogs and cats found that all of them had high levels of aggression towards people as well. It explains animal cruelty and neglect as just the first step of one's progressing violent lifestyle. It starts out with abusing animals but doesn't stop there. It is frequent occurrence that these animal abusers move to abusing humans. The article contains really great information on what these abusers do and why they do it. Many examples are included in the article as well, and I think this is why we should use this source. It seems like it'd be very important in proving the case that human abuse and animal abuse is correlated. Kagen will go on to tell us about the analysis and statistics and some more information on the correlation between animal cruelty and human violence. Thanks.
Following with what Alison and Raelyn said, we are showing our original two animals. Miracle, found by a woman near London, Kentucky, had been left for dead by two men who abused her. She recovered and was adopted by a loving family. Smokey was found on an airport runway. An abuse case was opened, but after years with no leads, the case was closed. Smokey is now full weight thanks to another loving adoptive family. On our website, we limited our scopes to two types of abuse: neglect, which is failure to provide food and shelter, and intentional cruelty, which is outwardly just torturing the animal. We talked to an animal control officer and a veterinarian, but we learned that animal abuse is serious in Kentucky. We came up with education and legislation as a solution. Next, we move into visuals using logos to share analysis and statistics to show viewers that they are needed. This is also a source we used on our website. We still think it is a good visual graphic that shows just how bad animal abuse is in Kentucky. Our research showed that Kentucky ranks 50 out of 50 in a 2013 study by the Animal League Defense Fund. We wanted to start with this, showing that of all the 50 states, Kentucky is the worst in animal protection laws. We will then explain why this matters to our audience before we lead up to the conclusion and the call to action. This is new research since the website. In addition to being 50 out of 50, we also found that Kentucky ranks last in animal welfare laws for the last 7 years in a row, based on factors including penalties not being strong enough and law enforcement policies not being enforced. This video from the Animal League Defense Fund was a case in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It shows Poncho and Lefty, 5-week-old pit bull puppies, found at a Dollar General store trapped in a box in freezing weather. Poncho and Lefty are 2 of 8 million animals that end up in shelters every year in our community. The real issue is that we don't have the laws to protect them, nor do we enforce the laws we have. These animals will never see justice unless we change the laws. This is the so what part. An even larger issue that comes from the lack of concern of animal cruelty is that we know that it leads to human violence. This is the point we want to make to convince our audience why they need to care about this more than they do. We know from multiple studies that we will reference in our PSA that there is a connection with animal cruelty and human violence. The FBI has finally reclassified animal abuse crimes, and the law will take place in 2016. The law will upgrade animal cruelty to a felony, but the local and state laws do not support the federal laws. Animal abuse is a crime that doesn't stop on its own. We know if an animal is being abused, it is very likely that there is a human in the same home being abused, most likely a woman or child. We also know that if it goes unchecked, it escalates to more violent crimes against humans. Also, many people who abuse animals were abused when they were children, so it is a vicious cycle that demands our attention. Another fact, the FBI uses animal cruelty as a predictor of violence against people and uses this data when profiling serial killers. We plan to show a list of statistics, probably in a graph or a chart. A Google search that we can show a screenshot of provides a list of animal crimes in Kentucky, and we will show pieces of video clips from 3 Kentucky cases. An Owen County student kills a goat in Turkey at his local high school. A Rowan County pet owner is charged with animal cruelty after one of his dogs was found dead and another was dying of starvation while chained a few feet from his front door. A Jessamine County man neglects his Doberman to the point of starvation, showing ribs sticking out of their skin. The list goes on, and we have plenty of examples and studies to show the correlation between animal cruelty and human violence. Next, Brittany will share our conclusion and our call to action.
Hello, my name is Brittany Galop, and I am a part of Group 3. I will be going over the final 3 slides for our PSA video. For our call to action, we will be looking at it in 2 different perspectives. The first will be using still images and different interviews to show how you can volunteer and help out at local humane societies. The second part of our call to action is in reference to the importance of reprimanding those who harm animals. So what we'll be using is statistics and different news reports that we have been able to find and use those in our videos to show how heinous crimes directly relate with animal cruelty. In conclusion, we plan on connecting both introductory information with everything that we have found through either analysis, statistics, questionnaires, polls, and interviews, alongside with news reports. Our information will be in a 5 to 10 minute long video that will include both still images as well as different news reports and video presentations that we are able to document and record. Our informational team is going to be Raelyn, Alison, and myself, Brittany Galop, and we will help with both the research, organization, and editing. Kagen will be doing the voiceover of our video and will help with editing. The next two slides are in reference to our works cited. All bolded information is going to be news sources that we used for this project. I hope this video has been informational to you, and I just thank you for your time. Thank you.